Cheers folks, and welcome to my channel. It has been quite a while now since I posted my last video, and there are very good reasons for why I haven't posted now for quite a bit. One aspect is clearly, for those who watched my last video, you will know that it has triggered quite some controversial discussion, but really clearly a discussion that was absolutely needed. Not only for the community to know actually what's going on, things that actually a lot of us already knew for a long time, but finally to have proof about something, and also to be able to trigger a discussion that goes beyond and also goes then to Kabam, so that they can pick it up and actually do something about it. Because at the end of the day, it's important, and Kabam are the only ones who can really do something about this situation where it comes to a few people manipulating the game for all the other people. So what we've seen now is that in Season 8, and we just started Season 8 now, we have some changes when it comes to matchmaking. And that has quite some positive effects now on the way that you find your next opponent in the wars, and that is that the power of matchmaking has been taken away completely from the players, which is perfectly how it should be, and is now totally in control of Kabam. They are the ones making sure that you're only supposed to meet and match alliances that are on your level, and not alliances that are way below in, let's say, tier 4, tier 5 alliances. Those should not be the ones that are suffering from a faulty matchmaking process. And at the same time, it also opens new opportunities actually for players of alliances that I might have mentioned in an earlier video, because suddenly you see that they are posting alliance war videos. Probably they didn't do it before, because that would have exposed how they are mostly meeting Platinum 2 and Platinum 3 alliances, but now they can actually show to the world that they are skilled players. So I'm happy to see now and to follow also the videos of some new players out there, and to see how they are doing against all the other alliances that they're playing against. It will be very interesting. But besides the matchmaking process, not much has changed, and the fact that not much has changed is what you can see during off-season, because during off-season, and that's also one of the reasons why I haven't posted for a while, you're basically fighting against empty maps. All alliances are tanking, or also, of course, don't want to expose their true defenses. Basically you have 3 weeks of free shards, but there's nothing to post about during an alliance war video. So that would have been a little bit boring. And when it comes to now is the question if everything is solved with that new matchmaking process. Well, part of it is solved, to be quite honest, because clearly now alliances cannot collude anymore between one another, to make sure that they are avoiding to meet, and can make sure that they're matching much easier, much lower tier alliances on the way. So that's very good, Kabam. But on the other hand, the one thing that's still remaining, and that I've been also claiming for quite some seasons now on the forums, on my videos, is the fact that Defenders Remaining is still part of the point system. And Defenders Remaining is the one reason why actually manipulation with multiple accounts in multiple alliances is still possible. Like, imagine you have 2 accounts, one in one alliance, one in the other alliance, and they're both now, due to the new matchmaking, they're both meeting. You have to make sure that your main account in your main alliance gets the majority of possible points out of this war. And that's how you can actually manipulate and still sabotage the point system, by making sure that the losing alliance, which you're also part of, is actually leaving up some defenders for you, so that you at the end of the day can take away some extra points which help you in the leaderboard to actually get to a top 1 or top 3 position in that season. So that's clearly something that actually Kabam needs to fix, because again, doing that is not against the terms of service of Kabam. The only thing that could work against that is the fact, if it's account sharing or, piloting on that kind of thing. But it's not against the terms of service of Kabam, so Kabam needs to fix that still. Thanks also to a lot of your contributions from my last video. We have a little bit more transparency now on, the different accounts, like which accounts there are. From one player who has multiple accounts. So this will just be tracked more carefully now, and also to be tracked when alliances meet where those 2 or multiple accounts are present. So to have a little bit of more deeper investigation on if that affects the outcome of the point system, yes or no. So that will be very interesting to monitor now moving forward. But I think that's about it also, and I don't want to bore you too much with my thoughts on the season. With that, I would like to open Season 8 and start with my first actual war video for Season 8 against the first alliance that we met in the new system. And the first alliance we were fighting against in Season 8 now is Apoco, and that actually also shows that the new matchmaking system works. They are clearly one of the top alliances over the last couple of seasons. Very strong defense, very strong and skilled players in their ranks, and we've met them quite a few times before. I think we always won the matches against Apoco, but it always also was quite a close match. So it was never something where, after half of the war you would say, oh, that's an easy walkthrough. So clearly tough matchup, and of course the first war of the season is always the one that you are most excited to get a good head start into the season. So it was very, very clear that first war is key priority to take a win home, and maybe start again thinking about ending that season in top 3 as we did now for quite a few seasons, and that will be clearly the goal also for this season moving forward. And for the start of the season, directly a actually change also for me, and that was that the first war here is on a new path, and that is path number 3. And for this path I brought Blade, Corvus Glaive, and Stark Spider-Man, who I finally pulled, I think, out of feature crystal number 27. I got my Spider-Man, Stark Spider-Man. He's not duped yet, but at this war and this stage, he's basically serving for the synergy and nothing else yet. But I hope to be able to dupe him and maybe then also ranking up further in the future. But that's my team for path number 3. And path number 3, pretty much just like the path number 1, which I mostly took during the season number 7. Also starts on the left-hand side, and I'm gonna skip a small part of it because basically I started again moving in the evening, moving up to the next node, then wanted actually to charge up some energy, and then by the time that I actually charged up the energy, my fellow teammate already took down the first node there. So I went on to the next node, which is node number 21, and node number 21 is enhanced bleed, bloodletting, and also enhanced abilities. So most likely playing against champions that inflict bleed, and then if they do also those debuffs, those bleed debuffs last 100% longer. And you have to watch out a bit if you're playing against, for example, evade champions on that node, then those abilities are triggering 20% more than usual. And as usual, also a boost. In this case, again, it's the beginning of the path, so it's a smaller boost. And because it is a skilled champion, and skilled champions, in that case it could have been actually a Black Widow, so that's why I took Corvus, because that could have given him potential 2 charges. It turned out not to be Black Widow, but it turned out to be Gwenpool. So again, what's important here is that you don't get hit by Gwenpool, so you don't get a bleed debuff. That is the biggest risk in this fight, because of course her bleed ability is very, very strong, very potent bleed. That is on this node very much accelerated and also intensified. So just make sure you don't get hit, and then also be aware that she cannot really die from your specials. So make sure that you don't think after the special the job is done. You have to be aware that afterwards you're still cautious and ready to actually then finish her off. And that was already it for the evening, and as usual then I continue the fight next morning. Next node was node number 27, Dormammu, rank 5, and this node very much characterized by actually a stun immune node. All buffs for this champion last 40% longer, and it has what is the probably most tricky part about this node, counter tactics, meaning the defender increases base attack by 20%, and this includes also any degeneration buff Dormammu might place on you. So you have to be very careful. I took off dexterity for this node to make sure that I don't trigger dexterity, because when you have a high hit combo and then all of a sudden he triggers the degeneration on you, even with Blade, even though I have Stark Spider-Man, there's always the risk that with that one degeneration, you are being drained by your entire health, and basically it kills you right away. So what I did, I took off dexterity, and of course I boosted big, and I started also with a power boost. Because what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I can keep Dormammu above 1 bar of power pretty much all the time. And then when he has more than 1 bar of power, I wait and I just evade and I let him fire off his special 1. And when he's done with his special 1, I basically have already my special 2. And then it's pretty much rinse repeat. Again, always making sure that I get him above 1 bar of power. And then I need to wait for him to fire off his special 1, which he does here. Be aware when you have dexterity turned off, let his first hit of this special 1 hit your block, and then you only evade the last part of his special. Otherwise, you risk that he clips you. And again, here on this node, on node number 27, you just have to make sure that he doesn't clip you and that he doesn't inflict his degeneration. And then actually, with Blade, he is perfectly fine to be taken down. Now, unfortunately, my teammate who actually did an attempt on Dormammu earlier did not take dexterity off, so that what was killed him. So I think in this fight, if you have Blade, if you have Dormammu on 27, the best thing you can really do is take off dexterity when you're fighting him with Blade. And then after clearing that fight, I moved on to node number 26. And the very important thing first, if you fight and you take dexterity off for a certain fight, please make sure that you turn dexterity back on for the next fight. Otherwise, you could have a real problem. The next fight was node number 26, and on node number 26, a skill champion, and as I always have Scouterlands, and you know, online you have the Scouterlands bot, you can always check which champion is on that node. And here you have enhanced critical buffs, you have enhanced bleed, pessimist and optimist, so above 75 and below 25% health, they get armor up, fury and health steal. And especially because of that armor up, it's good in that fight to use Corvus. It was clear from the Scouterlands bot that it was a massacre. So what you do against the massacre, you just wait for his special 1. His special 1 is, I think the only thing that's really risky about massacre is his special 2. So just make sure that you get him to fire off his special 1, which he does here, which consists of 3 parts. Always be aware it's 3 parts. And I still had my power up boost from the previous fight, so I actually started the fight off with a very early special 2, and then after the special 2 already he's pretty much down. Again, one small comment about the Scouterlands. I think it's important to know that you know, we have now this opportunity, and you know, even though you know, when you played against a certain alliance, you know their defense to a certain extent, you also can know their defense on the way by just using the Scouterlands bot, and I think everybody does it. All the good alliances are doing it, and I think if you are now seeing also videos of people not using Scouterlands, it can be a little bit suspicious that, you know, those people actually know more about the defense as maybe they would under normal circumstances. So that's why they might not need Scouterlands anymore. But I can tell you, for all of our alliance, everybody's using Scouterlands, and everybody is making sure that even though we're very skilled players, you have a safety net where you can be sure that, you know the opponent ahead and apply the right matchmaking for it. And that means for node number 41, which is a 6-star mutant champion, of course, as it gives a mission to Corvus Glaive. It's Corvus Glaive to use for that fight. And on top, it was not only a mutant champion, but it was on top a Nightcrawler. So a Nightcrawler who has always the potential to give this extra mission, and here he evades. So now what I have to do is I have to actually knock him down. Don't use your heavy. Don't use your heavy, because he can, if he has Limber, or let's say a short stun phase, he can evade the third part of your heavy. Always use your special 1, when you want to knock him down after he evaded. Because when you use your special 1, the first hit paralyzes him, so he cannot evade the second part of the special 1. So just be sure that when you want to get that mission against the Nightcrawler, always use your special 1, don't use your heavy attack. And that brought me then to node number 45, 6-star unduped science champion, very much a critical node, so enhanced critical rate and damage. And also critical hit rate is increased by 100% for every critical hit they do. And also plus 300% health, plus 200% attack, so quite significant champion boosts. And because it's a science champion and it was clear that it's not an Avenger, I actually used Blade for that fight. Even though I didn't have Ghost Rider, that villain synergy, which would have helped even more against Yellow Jacket. On top, it's not a unblockable special 1 node, so you can actually block Yellow Jacket's special 1 attacks, which I did. I didn't even try to evade. You know, you just take a little bit of block damage. It was clear that this was my last fight that I had with Blade, so I didn't have to heal him up after that, so I could perfectly well use him and just take some block damage from Yellow Jacket, and eventually still he's down very, very quickly, because I still also had my skill boosts on, the SB special attack 2 boost, and also the increased special attack boost. And that brought me then to node number 47, which is a 5-star duped mutant rank 5 champion, which was clear also from Scatterlands that this was going to be an Emma Frost, and of course an Emma Frost on this node to be fought with Corvus Glaive, who by now has 2 charges. It is the power start 1, so it starts 1 bar of power, and also the special 1 is enhanced and unblockable, and a lot of crit buffs on this node. So what I did is I on top took an invulnerability boost, again, because we all try to use the safety nets that Kabam provides us with to make sure that we can clear a fight without any death. And what you do, of course, in this fight is you try to get Emma out of her diamond form by inflicting armor break, and then once she fires off her special 1, make sure that you evade the special 1 with those inverted controls. My tip is always, try a 4 combo when you have her above 1 bar of power, and then back off. So it's easier for me, I think, to evade her special 1 than for a while she doesn't fire it off, and I get a little bit caught by surprise. But that's why I have my invulnerability boost, to actually then be able to take 1 special 1, and then now I have my special 2, and then 1 special 2 is already enough to actually take her down. So again, if I evaded 2 special 1s at first, not the third one. That's why I have the safety net, the invulnerability boost, and at the end of the day, I cleared the fight with no death, and actually Corvus is still at full health. And that's what's really important at the end of the day. And then moving on to the mini-boss, and the mini-boss, a well-known enemy on that node, which is a Archangel. Again, also this node is enhanced special 1, which means it's unblockable and plus 30% damage. And also this node is stun immune. So just have to make sure that you do not get clipped, and that you also do not get hit by his special 1, especially with a champ that can actually bleed or be poisoned, which is the most dangerous piece of that fight. But also, and I said this also in a couple of videos that I did already in the past, when it means special 1 is unblockable, it means that only his first hit of his special 1 is unblockable. His special 1 consists of 3 parts. Only the first part is unblockable. All the other parts you can actually perfectly well evade. Here, first part, and then you can block the next one, and you can evade the third one, and that gives you the exact time and also distance to then actually counterattack him right away. And then I have 1 special 2, which gets him to his special 2. His special 2 is very easy to evade. I evade the special 2 and counterattack, and then he's already down. That's enough with a little bit of boost, and it was not too much of a boost actually for this fight, because I mostly boosted for the second section of my path, and also because Corvus had already 2 charges. So with that, also he is down actually quite quickly. And that was it from my path. And with that, I cleared my path. And even more importantly, we won this first war, which was very important for us to start the season with a win, to also give us the confidence that we can actually manage a top 3 position as our goal also for season number 8. And for sure there will be more videos coming in the future as of now, so we'll post much more regularly as of now. So stay tuned, and as usual, if you liked the video, feel free to give it a like. If you are new to the channel and would like to see more videos like this in the future, then please hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see all of you very, very soon on my channel. Cheers, folks.